What's up, Crumbleheads? I'm Devin Porter, the author of After the Crumble, which is going to be released this coming November. Today I've been doing a couple of videos, and I've got my friend Alessandro behind the camera. Grazie, Alessandro.
Thank you, David.
And if you notice that he's doing the panning shots so you can get more of the countryside and kind of where we're sitting. And it's just a beautiful small town named Tropea in the south of Italy. So today I want to do a very short video and talk a little bit about the nature of the machine. And I saw something a couple of days ago that was really interesting and really got me started thinking. I saw some very little girls, got to be 4 or 5 years old, and they're sitting there and they're making little bracelets and they're selling them right on the side of the street. And I thought to myself, that's the cutest thing that I've ever seen. And the other thing that I thought was, unfortunately, you will not ever see that in the U.S. And in fact, there's been some news stories lately about little girls or little boys, little kids that are making like a lemonade stand, and the government comes in and shuts them down. They say you haven't paid for a business license. It's a $500 fee for a business license. And, you're talking about little kids with a lemonade stand. And that really got me thinking about the nature of the machine, and sort of, I've got some sort of musings about the machine today. I think the first concept that I want to address is the concept of government regulation and how it affects small business. I think that there's a general sense in the U.S. that regulations are good, and that regulations are meant to rein in the large companies and to keep them from doing bad things. And unfortunately, that's not the case. What the regulations that exist as of today in the United States are for is to prevent small businesses from starting. And you think about the agricultural regulations, you think about the banking, the financial world regulations, and it almost crosses every industry now. And if you think about those regulations, who wrote them? Monsanto helped write the regulations that now regulate the agricultural industry. And, the very large banks that supposedly got us in so much trouble, and the large banks that got the bailouts, when they instituted these new financial regulations, they were written by these large corporations. So I think that a lot of times we need to understand that regulations are not always a good thing, and that regulations are not always intended to help the little guy. I think that's the most important thing, and it really encapsulated that for me when I saw these little kids in Italy, and they're selling these bracelets. Cutest thing I ever saw, and the Italian police walk by and they say hello. And so there's some differences in between how the government is run in the US and Italy. So I sort of wanted to talk about the nature of that, and in some of my FAQs I've talked about how we can combat this problem, how can we fight this machine. There's nobody at the head of it. It's just basically a giant monster that's out of control. And there's small things that we can do, and I've wrote about them in some of the FAQs, but I have a personal boycott against self-checkout aisles and any machine that's intended to replace a human being. If you're in a large big box store and they say, hey, I'll check you out through the self-checkout aisle. Don't do it. All the crumble heads should be boycotting that, because it's intended to take away, a job from a regular person, and it doesn't help the consumer. It doesn't help the employees of these large corporations. The only people that it helps are the people at the very top of the chain, and those people don't need any more help. So that's sort of my musings today about, how we can start to think about this machine and how we can start to fight it in any way that we possibly can. So thank you very much, Crumbleheads. Have a great day.